So that chattering noise you heard at the end of last video when I was resetting the timing is when I have the clutch pedal all the way out, it makes a chattering noise. So I feel like I need to adjust my clutch cable. So I'm going to look into that. And I do have the Steeda adjustable clutch cable installed, and I have a video on my channel if you need to see taking out the old one and installing the Steeda unit. Now when I push the clutch pedal in, maybe 10%, the chattering goes away. So I feel like down at the transmission, it needs to just be tightened up a little bit there. Now there is a firewall adjuster, so I have some adjustment there as well. But let's go out of the car and we'll take a look around. So we have the firewall adjuster right behind the like little security alarm. You can see it's behind this hose here. It's mine they sent me was blue. Try to get a good look at that for you. So the knurled part I can actually twist if I loosen up the set screw in there, but it's really tight back in there, so I kind of got it set where I want it before I installed the whole thing. Now the main thing is we're going to come down here underneath the car, what I'm looking at first. So take my homemade ramp portion and I'll kick out this portion. So that's pretty cool. If you make your own homemade ramps, you need some ease of access crawling under the side of the car. You can swing them out like that. Now I do have a piece of wood chalked against the back wheel for safety. Always safety first. So if I crawl under here, we got to get our cover off. Okay, so down here underneath the car on the driver's side, you have this one bolt. It's a 3/8 bolt head, and this whole cover will come off. And you'll be able to peek inside the transmission, see the clutch fork and the end of the clutch cable and whatnot. So, broke it loose. Okay, just get a little more loose on that. Should be able to take the bolt off. Yes, perfect. Get the bolt out, and this piece, it just kind of sits in a little tab here, area here, up on the front. So we can take that piece off, and it comes down. I'm gonna set it out there like that. Now here we have the clutch fork, the end of the Steeda cable, and just grabbing it, you can see by hand it's a little loose. So I may want to go ahead and tighten it up. Now you do have a jam nut and then a nut here, but what you got to do is you actually got to stick a pry bar up in here inside the housing against the clutch fork, and as you pry away with the pry bar, you can get better access to the jam nut and the nut with some wrenches, and I can break them loose. Lift you loose at the jam nut, thread it back a little bit, and then tighten the nut against when I let the clutch fork, let the tension off and let it go back against the nut. So I'm going to tighten the regular nut a little bit that way, righty tighty, and then when I feel like it's got good, clutch fork has good engagement on the teeth of the clutch or the pressure plate, then I'll be a little more happy with that. Maybe my chattering will go away when my foot is not pressing the clutch in, and there you get a good shot of the throw-up bearing. This is not a Ford Racing throw-up bearing, but it is an all-steel one because the clutch kit came with a plastic section of a throw-up bearing, so I did not install that one. So this one, if this fixes my chattering issue, then maybe I don't need to go in there and replace that throw-up bearing with a Ford Racing throw-up bearing, but most likely I think I do. So let's get this process going here. All right, we'll begin. Get our pry bar up in here. We'll pry against the clutch fork, and the one end of the pry bar is against the aluminum transmission housing. That should be good. And as we pry on the clutch fork, release tension on the clutch cable. Now this is the tricky part, because you got to get 2 wrenches up in there while you're prying. I think what I did is I kind of held the pry bar back with my shoulder last time, and then went at it question is, how am I going to hold it like that while I do my thing? Yeah. Just kind of got to put shoulder into it. Okay. I think I'm finally in a good position here. I can at least loosen the jam nut in this position. Oh, okay. Sorry about that, but as you can see, I got the nut loose from the jam nut, and I just kind of have my shoulder against the bar and kind of pry it out. You kind of got to hold it there, and then you take your hand with one of the wrenches and put it, you kind of pull this down a little bit. When you get some slack on it, you pull it down into the wrench, and then you take your left hand with your other wrench and put it around the jam nut, and you got to do all that at once. So just keep that in mind. Not an easy task. But now we're going to righty-tighty this nut here, and this jam nut's a little seized here. We're going to have to make sure we get that loose. But for now, I'm going to righty-tighty this nut towards the clutch fork here. And as I let tension off the pry bar and take it out, now I can see that it is much more stiff. I mean, it's going to have a little bit of wiggle room, but you want it so that the clutch fork, I believe, is kind of pressing there on the putting tension on the throw bearing to push against the teeth of the pressure plate just a little bit. So that's what I'm going to try to get that adjustment point to. I'll come back with you. Okay. So I was able to get the jam nut loose, or to be able to spin on me, by taking the adjustable and holding the hex part here. And just it was just on a tight spot. So now I get the jam nut loose. So I'm going to put it back up against the nut because I got the nut where I want it. And then I'm going to pry clutch fork back out so I can get my adjustable and the 1/2-inch wrench. These are both 1/2 inch, and tighten them together. And then I will go test out, see if we still get our chattering noise upon start up and running. And also, while you're underneath the car, it's a good idea to tighten up all your exhaust clamps. In this case, I have some butt clamps for my Summit Racing H-pipe. And down, there's some U-clamps down there as well. My pipe bomb stainless catback. Also, I wanted to show you this piece. If you disconnect part of your tubing on your 9495 that goes to here on the passenger side of your H-pipe, this piece, it's rusty now, but I actually machined it, piece of mild steel on the lathe, and it's like a little cap, and on the inside I bored it out to just a little bit slightly over the diameter of this pipe here, so it's almost like a slip fit. And I just used a little hose clamp to tighten it up because it's a really thin wall, so it'll actually collapse a little bit under tension. That's how I capped off that end there. All right, so we got the car running, pulled it outside, and as you can hear, it's still kind of there, but it's not as bad as it was before. So I'll test drive it, keep an eye on it, but that is definitely an improvement. Now, I'll let you guys listen to it there for about a few seconds. Let me know what you think. I'll just keep on driving it, but always something to keep an eye on the 95 GT. And idling pretty good there. So it was surging a little bit last few times I started up, but it's been settling out. All right, that's where we sit. Time to actually drive it and enjoy it. Thanks for watching.